Our story starts here in Griffith, Indiana on August 5th, 2026, and me and my family were on the way to go on vacation in Michigan. So, along the way, we decided to stop at a railroad museum, if you could even call it that, as a full museum, in Griffith. And it had some pretty cool equipment. On display at the museum, they had two old railroad crossings right at the entrance of the parking lot, which looked pretty cool in my opinion. It's always cool to see some of these just sitting around. And the actual equipment that they had around was an EG&E caboose car number 503, a Pullman troop sleeper car. I don't know what the heck that is. This thing, I should really look more into this, and then a flat car and another box car. Not long later, we heard a train, but of course, it didn't go on our track. I ended up standing there recording for like 30 seconds thinking that this thing was going to go through these tracks, but no, of course I had to go on a switch going the entire opposite direction, and by the time we went over to the crossing where it went through, yep, the switch was aligned back to the track I was on before. Great. So, anyway, it wasn't that long of a wait until we saw a BNSF manifest train, or CN, I honestly don't know, with a BNSF GEVO leader, which was kind of boring. I see BNSF's a lot, so it gets kind of boring after a while. But at least we had an X-City Rail locomotive number 3976. It's always cool to see one of these around. I like the old paint scheme, and it was kind of random to see on this trip. I already saw a couple of these in the past couple rail finding trips, so what a coincidence to see one of these again. After the two lead engines passed, I ran over to one of the cars and tried to get a shot. Since there's a diamond over there, it sounds kind of cool to hear the wheels on the diamond. So I got over there. A cool bunch of these flat cars make cool sounds on the tracks. I wish I could show you without me talking in the background. Sorry. And then I had to dangle off the car for this shot, making me do a whole workout rest for rail fanning, and for one shot that was barely 30 seconds. Well, I'll shut up and let you watch the rest of the video of the train ending. With no light being seen in the distance and all reds on like all of the signals, which is surprising with their 5 tracks on that line, we decided to make our way to our Airbnb in Michigan. But also because it started to drizzle, and that drizzle turned into rain. Lots of rain, and hard rain. So I rushed in the car with my dad, got a slice of pizza, and we made our way. And during that trip, we had to pass through Gary, Indiana, and I caught the South Shore train. Jeez. Stopped over here in one of the stations in Gary. After we settled into our Airbnb, we went right straight back out just to look around and see what we had to do for the rest of the day, as there was only a couple hours left, and I just wanted to do something instead of sit around, you know? So we ended up coming here to St. Joseph, Michigan, a little downtown area just for us to hang out for the rest of the day. And of course, they had an Amtrak station there, home to the Pere Marquette and the Pere Marquette only, with the occasional CSX or freight train. And the one bad part is, there's only 2 Amtrak trains in a day. One at like 8 in the morning and then one at 9:14 p.m. So we caught nothing here because we weren't going to stay here for that long. We got there at like 7:30. So we decided just to walk around the downtown and finish it the next day. And there would be no way at all, that we were going to wait till 9:14 for an Amtrak train with a consist I've seen a lot of times before. Right? Yeah, we'll go back to that later. Anyway, we skip over to August 6th, 2026, and me and my dad drove out to LaPorte, Indiana early in the morning at like 7 a.m. to try to catch some trains for the vacation train video, which is what you're watching right now. And right when we got there, we saw a green light. Nice. Not long after, so like 10 minutes later, we saw the headlight of the Amtrak Floridian with the P42 Phase 5 leader. Usually these trains are run by ALC 42s, which are starting to take over on Amtrak on a lot of lines, which kind of sucks. So that was cool to see the P42s on this train. About 5 minutes after the Amtrak passed, the signal turned green again for another train. This train was an NS grain train, but it sadly had some trash power, honestly. However, I think it's kind of cool when I see an NS, since I don't usually see NS engines or NS trains at all by where I rail fan. I usually see BNSFs, which is almost always boring unless you catch a Dash 9, H1 or H2, or H2 GEVO, and that's kind of rare. So it was cool to see this. And we also got the horn show. Or horn salute. My bad. After that train passed, we decided it was time to leave and go back to our Airbnb. But then right after, when we were leaving, the gates went down. I rushed out of the car, ran over to the gravel, and caught a CN train, which is also always cool to see. And that's an all train too, with the SD75-1. What the heck is that? Trailing, and an ace leader. So that was cool. Later on into the day, we passed these old railroad crossings on a main line, with electric bells, sadly. But it was still cool to see these on a main line and not on display at like the museum like we saw last time. We then went to an antique store right after and saw these cool trains, like an Oskill train and this thing. It still looks cool though. Based off the New York Central Hudson is what I think it is. Maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. We then ended up back in St. Joseph, and we saw this bridge that was just in the middle of the water. This bridge connects to the Pere Marquette tracks, and I thought it was cool that it was just floating here as it let the boats go through. We came back here because we thought we still had a lot to go of the downtown area. Well, we didn't, so we were kind of stuck here. We then went to the beach, played some wiffle ball, or when I say played, I mean we just swung the bat. It was still fun though. And then we decided, what the heck, let's wait for the sunset. I almost said sunrise. Sunset. And it looked really cool, actually. And the sunset was at like 8:58. And then I said, what the heck, let's wait for the Amtrak Pere Marquette at 9:14. What did I say? I was like presuming something earlier in the video. You remember? So, yeah, we waited for it. And I had a whole plan set out that I'll tell you later. Alright, I know I said I'll tell you later, but I'll just tell you right now. That's what this black screen's for. It's like the blackboard, you know? Yeah? Right? Alright, whatever. So my plan is pretty simple, honestly. Go down to the depot, wait for the Amtrak train to come to the station, as it has to blow its horn at the crossing, which would be cool to hear and also see with the scenery in the background. And then right after it stops, end the video, absolutely sprint all the way to the bridge that we were at, that I showed you earlier, to try to get a video of the train crossing the bridge. And meanwhile, I would have to pray and hope that this train doesn't move while I'm running there. So, overall, a pretty simple plan. But if you see this walk in real life, or run or jog or whatever, this is pretty far. Especially if you are kind of like nervous that this thing's gonna leave before you get there. So, yeah, it actually doesn't look far, but I know it's far, okay? Anyway, it wasn't that long of a wait until the gates went down and the Amtrak blasted its horn into my ears, making me deaf. Nice, Amtrak. Meanwhile, my mom was still up on the hill, and she got a cool shot of the train stopping into the station. And then, as you could see, right after it goes to a halt, you see me, that little speck by the way, sprinting all the way down that long road that I was telling you about earlier to get to that bridge to get that shot. And thankfully, I had time to spare when I got there. My dad was there as he got a shot of the bridge turning into alignment so the Amtrak could go through, which I'm not going to add just because it's kind of long. Sorry, Dad. And, yeah, it came like 5 minutes after I got there. However, my legs were absolutely destroyed. I was sprinting so fast, I guess my adrenaline kicked in because I realized I was going a lot faster than I thought I was. And, yeah, so my legs are still kind of sore during the making of this video. And then I finally got the shot I was waiting for. And it came out absolutely incredible, especially with that sunset in the background. Well, I hope you made it through the entire video, and I hope you liked it too. There's also a video of the bridge turning back into the middle to let the boats through the rest of the day, or through the night, I should say. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll put a poll out today to see if you guys want me to continue making videos like this. And, well, I hope you guys enjoyed. I already said that, but I'll say it again. I don't care. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and have a good rest of your day or weekend or literally anything. Right now, I'm heading to the IRM for Diesel Days, Day 2. So, I'll see you then. Well, actually, I'm posting another video before that, but see you later.